When you say apostasy, what do you mean?
Leaving the religion.
Okay. Is that it?
There's more to it than that. How are you leaving the religion? What are you doing?
Like there are many Muslims who have leave the Islam. So what will happen to them?
I don't think you've understood what you're asking. Apostasy, leaving Islam, it's not as simple as that. If, for example, somebody's sitting there and they no longer believe in God, they're not going to be killed.
Okay.
If you're just sitting and you've left God in your heart and then you go on about your life, you're not just going to be killed for that. That's a misconception, actually. It's only when you start causing corruption in the land. It's that corruptive element of apostasy which is an issue. That now you're causing issues in society, in your community. Yeah, and the reason why Sheikh compared it to treason is because you're familiar with separation of church and state. However, since the time of the Prophet, or at the time of the Prophet ﷺ, there was no distinction between church and state. So if you'd left the religion, it was akin to leaving the state. So you leaving the state, causing corruption in the land, and as I mentioned initially in the stream, kufr, disbelief, is the biggest sin in Islam because of, number one, the issues that it causes to yourself, to the people around you, and to society. Because of this very reason, again, there's different ways that it's dealt with, but one of the punishments is if the state deems you guilty of corruption. And this is not just reserved for non-Muslims, by the way. This is reserved even for Muslims that cause corruptions in the land. For example, at the time of Abu Bakr radiallahu anh, there were people that were refusing to pay zakat, obligatory charity, and the Muslims waged war against them. So it's not that, oh, Islam is insecure, somebody left the religion, or therefore, oh, no, it's not that. It's based upon the consequences of that. If somebody just sits down and, leaves religion, whatnot, they can leave the country, no problem. But if they insist on staying in the Islamic State and then insist on misleading others, then you face the punishment of the Islamic State. And it's conceivable within the Islamic State that either it's conceivable, you could be put to death. Number two, it's conceivable that you can be exiled. That's also something as well, because it depends upon the treaty of the state as well. If the state has a treaty, like at the time of the Prophet ﷺ, there was something called the Treaty of Hudaybiyah. There was a treaty, and upon the precepts or the agreements of the treaty, the Muslims implemented something different. So it's not as clear cut as, oh, somebody has a change of heart and now that's it, it's kaput. Unfortunately, this is a gross misconception that and a very simplistic way. One thing that people unfortunately do with Islam is when it comes to every other system, this person's committed murder, okay, he'll have to go to court and evidence will be have to brought forward and this will happen and that will happen. When it comes to Islam, khalas, boom, done, finished. Like there's no court system, there's no rulings, there's no judge, nothing. This is a very simplistic, basic way of dealing with this sort of stuff. And like